Thank you. Do we have a student council rep with us? Can you come up and introduce yourself, please? Is the green light on that microphone?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Can you tell us your name?
Yep. My name is Kendall Johnson, and I'm the underclassmen liaison, and I'm a sophomore this year. So I just have a few things to talk about today for what student council is doing, as well as stuff going on with the rest of the student body. So student council started off our year with the freshman first day, and that went really well. We got to talk to them about what it's like to be a Port Pirate, as well as some other fun activities and sports and activities that they can get involved in as students here. And then we also recently had our Port Pride Assembly, where the staff talked about our new pirate points, as well as the new raffle prizes, how to win Port Pride hours, and how those can be used for an exam exemption. And then coming up tomorrow, we have pre-ACT prep for the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and we're going to have shortened classes afterward. And then student council has been working a lot on homecoming this year. We're super excited. Our theme this year is Under the Sea. So homecoming week is October 11th through the 18th. So we're split up into committees on executive board. So our spirit committee right now is working on finalizing our spirit days, and we're going to be sending those out soon on social media and posters. We're also excited this year we're going to have some big banners in the lunchroom that have the spirit days for each week, or each day of the week, so then hopefully we'll get more students involved through that. Our Powder Puff team, they're pretty much done with all of that right now. The forms are out, and I believe they're due Wednesday this week, so girls can still sign up for that. And we have a new hypnotist this year, which we're really excited about also, and we're going to be sending out information soon about how to buy tickets to be in that and when that will be. And then for our court committee, we're emailing coaches right now, getting kids nominated for court. And right now, the decoration committee, they're kind of seeing what inventory we have from previous years for decorating for the dance, and then they're also going to be submitting an order soon to get anything else that we still need. And then a couple of important dates that we have for homecoming. We have the freshman road painting and powder puff game on Sunday, October 12th. The hypnotist is going to be October 15th. The pep rally, parade, and tailgate are Friday, October 17th, and the dance is Saturday, October 18th. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Kendall?
I was just wondering, can you give us a little detail on the new Port Pride points? Is that what you were talking about?
So in the past, we have had other kind of pirate rewards this year, but this year the staff talked about how they want to make an effort to hand out more of those, and we have different raffles that you can enter them into to win individual prizes, or you can win prizes for your homeroom, so like a homeroom party. So that's with the Port Pride Committee and PBIS.
Oh, tied in
Yeah,
with the
tied to
PBI.
PBIS, sorry.
Okay. All righty, thank you.
Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll move on to the superintendent report.
Yeah, so for the September superintendent update, we got a couple celebrations and recognitions for the month of October, some of which we won't have a board meeting until after these, so want to recognize those opportunities as well as have our first ever strategic plan update on some key performance indicators. So first and foremost, National Custodian Day is October 2nd, 2025. Very appropriate. It is at the beginning of the year after these outstanding staff members got our buildings ready to go. I continue to be impressed with the way our buildings look and are upkept. I think most notably when we did our tours last year at Saukville, community members continued to say over and over how well maintained that building was, having been built in sections in 1955. So I want to recognize these individuals: Ken Benendum, David Dirk, Ihor Dusen, Aiden Janzer, Matt Juster, James Coster, Marisol Lucatero, Carlene Martins, Julie McGough, Jacob Safransky, Scott Spearbrecker, Lauren Schneider, Michael Gothard, Desiree Mercado, Ethan Novotny, Deb Banton, Matthew Dimmer, Landon Johnson, Matt Hansen, Brady Calder, and Brooklyn Altendorf-Schmidt for all of their work. That is the group of custodial staff that works day, evening, part-time. Some of those are students, some of those are my neighbor. So a shout out to all of those people that maintain our buildings to make them look the way they do. And then a special shout out to our building heads, Ryan Malloy, Amber Schmidt, Andy Schmidt, Andre Terry, and Jeff Trapp for their management of this team and really the work that we do to maintain our buildings. So that is October 2nd, so we'll work on celebrating them in 2 weeks. It is also School Board Appreciation Week, the week of October 5th through the 11th. You should have some thank you cards on your desk or area that were written by our admin teams. So thank you to all the work that you do. Continue to learn and grow our district and support policies. I think we have policy princesses now involved in this team. We have a whole lot of work as it relates to strategic plan and the vision that you've set forward. So we will celebrate you the week of October 5th and 11th, but certainly today and tonight as well. So thank you for all that you do as board members. This picture did not need to be updated. This is the one that we took about a year ago, and since we had zero turnover, I thought it was such a great picture we didn't redo it, but I'm also open if you want to do new pictures. But thank you to our board members for all the work that you guys do. Finally, it's National School Lunch Week, October 13th through the 17th. As I think back to my days as being a principal, the most important parts of the day were getting kids to school at the beginning of the day, feeding them at lunch, and then getting them home at the end of the day. Those are the three most stressful times for our principals, and that is covered in the middle part of our day by these outstanding staff, our lunch staff across the district, led by Morgan Carter, and then supported by Michelle Bitter, Michelle Block, Aiden Kuhn, Kimberly Drost, Beverly Dunn, Carol Injeski, Bonnie Keller, Darcy Kitzman, Scott Litt, Michael Perkett, Savannah Phelps, Kim Phillips, Catherine Rissmeyer, Barry Tremlinger, and Jacqueline Werman, and all the work that they do. So we'll recognize them the week of October 13th and through the 17th for all the work that they do to feed our kids, which is an important thing that gets those kids through the afternoon and gets them to that end of the day we can get them home. So we will celebrate National School Lunch Week that week. So any questions about the celebrations?
Michael, how will we recognize our custodians and our lunchroom people? Like, is it a card? Is it a visit? How are you going to recognize?
Yeah, so we'll have to get creative. Last year, we went to Broadway Popcorn and found a local business to support, and we purchased small gifts and token of appreciation for staff. So I'm working with district office, with Matt and Carolyn. We'll come up with something, some small token, but our buildings also do a nice job of celebrating, whether that's through a Facebook post or a staff lunch. We find ways to celebrate. So we will actually be talking at our ad council this week that there is a lot of celebratory days across the school year, and we want to make sure we're prioritizing so we don't miss any, because I think there's different ways that I think there's National Tutor Appreciation Day next week. I don't know if that's officially recognized, so we'll be talking as an ad council this week. So what is it that we're doing as a district, so we're also consistent in all 5 of our buildings, but finding small ways to say thank you and support local business. So. All right, the final thing is, as I referenced, the first touch point for our strategic plan. As the board worked throughout last year and into July, you approved a strategic plan that has 26 key performance indicators that help shape our vision and mission and the direction that we want to certainly fund things and push our district forward. And so 2 of those 26 indicators I'd like to bring forward tonight to share, and also talk about some of the next steps that we're going to be working on to implement strategies. So the first one is staff engagement. This is important as we want our staff engaged. We want them to be ambassadors, is the language that we use in the district. And so last year in March, we sent out a staff survey, and the final survey question was, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend the district to employ as a place of employment? We see those staff members that responded with a score of 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as ambassadors and essentially promoting and being positive references to our district. We see 5 as neutral, and that actually falls in the negative side. But then 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 are staff that we need to get to and find out how we can support them. As it relates to what that looks like and how we come up with a score, essentially we take that number and create a positive score of the 6 through 10 and come up with a percentage, and then we subtract the negative of 0 through 5 to come up with an overall rating or ambassador positive score. So from a staff perspective, we are currently meeting expectations as it relates to ambassador scores. And so you can see the data on the bottom, 8, 9, and 10 respectively. We had 49 staff say 8, 30 staff say 9, and 28 staff said that we said we are a 10, and they would highly recommend our district. Responses of 6 and 7 were 26 and 29. Responses of 5, we had 45 staff say we were right in the neutral, that they wouldn't necessarily recommend, but they also wouldn't be, I guess, a negative promoter. For responses of 0 through 4, we had 7 staff members that took the survey of the 245 that said 0. 5 that said 1, 5 that said 2, 10 that said 3, and 11 that said 4. So as that relates to a score, our overall positive promoter score of 162 divided by 245 was 0.661 or 66%. And then the negative promoter score is 83 out of 245, which gets you to 0.33. As you subtract those, that gives us a score of 32.3. So we fall within that meet expectations area. I was able to take this data to our superintendent engagement session across all staff last week and get some feedback on what are some things that we can do to impact this. One strategy that was brought up that night is, could principals see their individual buildings? So is this the same? Is every building across the district meeting expectations? And so I was able to share this data with principals today, that we have some of our buildings that are significantly exceeding expectations in this particular category once we pulled their building out. The highest score being above 60% as an ambassador. And then on the alternate end, we had a building that was at 3% that is developing and below that meets expectations. So we have buildings across the gamut, one being developing all the way to some being significantly exceeds expectations. But this will be one strategy that we work with our buildings to find ways to be ambassadors around staff engagement. Questions about the first KPI that I've been able to bring to the board?
I appreciate you bringing this. I was curious, I know you said it, how often do you survey the staff? And can you remind me of the timing that's used to determine the KPI?
Yes, so this KPI is driven by the March or spring staff survey. Some data that I'll be able to bring for current KPIs, I'll be able to reference previous data. This question was not previously asked in 2024 on the Panorama survey. This is a survey question that we'll be using through school perceptions moving forward. So I wasn't able to give you data from 24 or 23, but we'll be able to use this as a baseline and bringing data for this indicator based on this question. We also do a survey in the fall for top workplaces to see if that's an area that we can see growth. And so we'll be engaging in that process in November. And then our buildings have also been doing progress monitor checks, thinking about a specific question that their building is working on, and then checking in with their staff throughout the fall, whether that's November, January, but not necessarily waiting until March, again, to say, did we make an impact? So we'll be checking in. And each building will be able to kind of cater to what their needs are and what questions they want to progress monitor.
Awesome, thank you.
The other one I wanted to bring forward tonight is family satisfaction. In a very similar fashion, we ask families at the same time, March of 2025, we ask them on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend the district to friends and or family? The rating scales are the exact same. The way we come up with the score is the exact same, looking for ambassadors or 6 through 10 scores as a positive promoter and 0 through 5 as a negative promoter. So getting right to that data, this is something that we can celebrate. Our families and parents, and through this engagement, are saying we are a district that significantly exceeds expectation as it relates to an ambassador of the district. So you can see on the scores of 8, 9, and 10, 98, 40, and 72. So 72 of the 390 families said we are a 10 out of 10, with 98 saying 8 and 40 saying 9. Responses of 6 and 7, you can see 28 and 57. You can see responses of 5 is 61. And then we did have 10 families that said 0, 1 family that said 1, 4 families that said 2, 7 families that said 3, and 12 families that said 4. As it relates, we are just on the beginning cusp of significantly exceeds expectation. As that rates out, we're at 51.2%. So certainly a celebration that our families are seeing this as a district that they will promote and share with others. As we think about October, I will be bringing open enrollment in versus out. That's another key performance indicator. This is something we want our families to be telling their friends and family in other districts, that this is a district that we want you to come to. So this is certainly a celebration for us and something that we want to maintain. We can do the same level of data as it relates to families, polling by building. We have not yet done that, but that is something that we can look into. But really, we see the Donovan survey that was done in 2023 as an initial indicator of communication and focus for our district, having some areas to work on communication. So one thing we did last year was the beacon. We also sent regular communications around safety and incidents at our building. So being really thoughtful of what that 23 survey told us, we're seeing the positive results as it relates to parent engagement. Questions on this KPI?
You mentioned that you could break it down by building also. Are you going to be doing that soon? Because I think it would be great to see both of these engagement KPIs by building, so we can just identify if there's anything that sticks out. Thank you.
Is that a 75% response rate?
So 390 families, that is, no.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, they
it
are
is-
very engaged with
it
that
is-
response rate.
So of the 390 families, 75% responded positively.
Got it,
Our
okay.
survey, I mean, we have around 2,300 students, probably around 2,000 families we can get you. But School Perceptions has said that our family and staff surveys are both statistically significant on the response rate. So we had 390 families get all the way to this question.
Got it, okay.
This is the last question on the survey, so. Look forward to bringing you a couple KPIs through the superintendent. This is the smallest month. For the next few, we'll bring a number as it relates to finance through next month's budget hearing. November will be a busy month as it relates to Learning Ready as we get our school report card data and bring forth a number of indicators for Life Ready, Career Ready, and Learning Ready. But really knowing that the KPIs and the strategic plan is not something that we just look at once a year. This is an ongoing process, and we're excited to bring this data. So thanks to the work to the board. Again, another shout out for board appreciation of having a strategic plan that we can help guide our vision, our SLOs, our goals with our staff is a great place to be. So that concludes my superintendent's report.
Great. I really don't have a president's report, but I do want to tell you all thank you again for your service, and I am honored to serve with all of you. Your board dates, upcoming meetings are in your board bulletin, and I just wanted to thank you all for your committee work. We'll be bringing forward the work of policy later on so that you can see, but thank you for your work on mission and vision. And then our next step will be goals, so we'll be working on those next. Sarah? Yes.
I have a question. In an update, I believe, from Michael, there was an October 20th date sometimes listed for a board meeting for the budget hearing. Is that, what is that? Is that a separate one?
Nope, we had talked about leaving that as a possibility, knowing that statutory guidelines of getting information to the state. And speaking with Mel Nettesheim, we do believe that we can still have that budget hearing on the 27th. I just confirmed that with her last week, and still get the data that we need to file that. So there will not be a meeting on the 20th. Good question.
So, sorry, so the 27th is our annual meeting,
Budget hearing, yep.
budget hearing? Thank you.
And then we'll move on to committee updates. Ryan, you have the Finance and Human Resources.
I can do that. I thought I was not the vice chair of that.
I think because, oh, you're not the vice chair.
I think it's a lot.
Me, I opened my mouth and made it joke, and now I'm. So, since Justin's not here, I will give the report. We started at 6 p.m. and we actually had a very interesting and exciting Finance Committee meeting last week. We got to have a presentation and question and answer session with Growth Design, and we got to see the site plan for the new Saukville Elementary School. So we got to see how it would fit onto the plot of land. We got to see traffic flow into and out of the school for buses, pedestrians, and pick up and drop off cars for parents. We got to see the basic layout of the school and how the classrooms are arranged into pods that can be separately locked down in case of an emergency, all with their own separate exit. And it was really exciting to see all the thought that had been put into the design. And then we adjourned at 6:45.
And then Stephanie, you have policy.
Wait, before that, I was present at that meeting as well. I'm not listed on the other members present.
So policy committee met on the 15th as well. We discussed and revised policy 2105, which is the mission and vision of the district. We will go through the first reading of that later tonight, but we slightly restructured we're going to be pulling the goals out of policies so that those can be more living and updated more frequently. And then we did belief statements for kind of our value statements. So you'll see those shortly. And then I have a correction on that as well. So Yvonne and Justin are not committee members. So I wasn't sure if they needed to be listed on the committee report.
Actually, that same thing holds true for the Finance Committee.
Any other questions about our committee updates? Then we'll move to district-wide committees. Did anybody meet over the last month with your district-wide or other district-wide committees? Nope, okay. Then we will move on to public comment. Michael Schberger. I'll just quickly read. Please, if you would state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. When the timer sounds, you'll be expected to conclude your comments. Time will be strictly enforced out of respect and fairness to all. No individual comments will be given priority over others. The board cannot engage in any substantive discussion or formal action. Participants will be directed all comments to the board, not to individual board members. And you're responsible for the content of your comments.
Thanks,
Hi,
Sarah.
Michael.
Mike Moschberger, 2252 Willow Pond Way, Grafton, Wisconsin, 53024. I'm here to follow up on my last comments a month ago. I was welcomed back by Dr. McMahon. I appreciated that. And when I was welcomed back, I think about a message that I tell students in my classroom and kids at my house about you're going to make mistakes. When mistakes happen, as a parent and as a teacher, I care way more about how do you respond to those mistakes than the mistakes themselves. And after my public comments, my comments were based on mistaken data. And Dr. McMahon reached out, Sarah reached out, and Ms. McCutcheon reached out, and I really appreciated that. And we had a long, lengthy meeting. And so I would like to, I think I owe it to our community to correct the record on, ironically, something that I thought I was doing before. But my comments about Ms. Nettesheim's raises and the way in which they happened, that was the basis of my frustration before, were not accurate. There was a significant jump in compensation quite early on in Ms. Nettesheim's tenure. And I think, given the dialogue that happened, I would have hoped that Ms. Nettesheim would have said, hey, in the interest of transparency, could have put those out there for the community to understand and to know. That didn't happen. It is what it is. One of the things, as I reflected on my other comments, I think that there is some significant irony here, given that the source of data that I relied upon was the same source from DPI, Department of Public Instruction, that our district relied upon at the April 28th board meetings that I referenced earlier in my prior comments. My comments came from district-reported data to DPI. I don't know who's responsible at district office for reporting that data, but it seems to me like it would be a finance HR issue. I also looked to see if there were any errors because there is a database on DPI's website that maintains error reports. I saw Ms. Nettesheim did file an errata report with DPI in the last 5 years, but nothing related to her salary. So I do think that the irony here is quite remarkable. And there's a lot to unpack here in 3 minutes, but one of the things that's not lost on me is I asked Gemini, we live in the age of AI, I asked Gemini to prepare me a report about what are the ramifications for misreported public salary data in public school districts in Wisconsin. And one of the things that Gemini highlighted was the lack of public trust. And I know Dr. McMahon, Ms. McCutcheon were very mindful of that, of public trust. And I want to be fully transparent that I support Dr. McMahon's vision for our district, and I do not think that there was anything nefarious with Ms. McCutcheon's comments. We met for a long period of time, and I left that meeting feeling sad that my efforts would do anything to undermine Dr. McMahon's vision for our district, And I would never, that would be a mistake on my part, and I would not want to be a part of interfering with what you have as a vision for our district. And I certainly don't think that you had anything nefarious with your comments. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And then we will move on to consent agenda, which includes business service reports, human resources report, the annual asbestos management plan notification. That is a yearly report that we put out. And so all those things are included in consent agenda if anyone has any questions about any of those.
I'll ask my one standing question that I always have is just regarding exit interviews for folks that are leaving voluntarily.
Yep, over the last month, I've conducted one exit conference. We continue to reach out to those staff members. We do see more successful data as it relates to those individuals more interested in meeting with me one-on-one rather than filling out our survey. So we are talking with school perceptions if there's a better way to survey staff with better questions as they exit. But overall, we're getting better response to those one-on-one. So I'll continue to collect that data and bring it to the board on a regular basis.
Great, thank you.
I was wondering if I know that there were some hires for the EA positions, but I was just wondering, I know we were quite short-staffed when we started the year. Can you update us on how many open positions remain?
We do have a number of EA positions across the district. Actually, we had a resignation today, so continuing to work on hiring those positions. I'm meeting with an outside second-party firm to see if there's other options that we can do to fill those positions. Last week, I had a chance to attend a superintendent's convention and talked with superintendents across the state. And one of the first questions we ask is, how is it going? What are you working on? What's your biggest struggle? And the common theme across all superintendents was hiring, support staff, and busing. Those continue to be struggles across the state. We're no different. So we are reaching out to other entities to see if we can support staffing. And continue to look at position by position. We spoke at cabinet if there's other strategies to engage different community members, but we do continue to be short with EAs. We are not short with teachers. That is one success that we have that many districts are also struggling with, is to hire full-time teachers. So I meet with our ad council this Wednesday to check in on that.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, have you had any success with exit interviews for EAs to get a better idea of why they're leaving?
I would say of the majority of staff that are reaching out to do exit conferences, it is our certified staff. I think in all, I've had one EA that's reached out to do an exit conference. That could be something we could also look into.
If there are no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda. I need to pull, please, sorry. I need to pull schedule of bills 8.2 and 9.1. But I will make a motion to approve the rest,
I'll second.
and we'll do a roll call, Carolyn.
Karen,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Kirsten,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Yvonne,
Aye.
Elisa,
Aye.
Nicole.
Aye.
Motion passed.
I will move to approve consent agenda items, schedule of bills 8.2 and 9.1.
I'll second.
I'm going to break them up.
Oh, they have to be separate. Okay, then I will do 8.2.
Thank you. And you're in a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll roll call again.
We'll do Sarah,
Abstain.
Kirsten,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Yvonne,
Aye.
Elisa,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Motion passed.
And I will move to approve consent agenda items, schedule of bill 9.1.
I'll second.
Thank you. And it'll be Kirsten,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Yvonne,
Aye.
Elisa,
Aye.
I'm sorry, I have to abstain from that one, too.
yes. Nicole,
Abstain.
Karen.
Aye.
Motion passed.
And she had it all highlighted and everything.
Apparently can't read tonight, sorry, it's been a day. We will go to new business, please. Summer school report and action on DPI summer school pupil count audit.
Yeah, so I'd like to invite Zach Mueller, who does a tremendous amount of work to set up and plan for summer school, but then also is boots on the ground, is there at summer school each and every day, working with our admin staff, as well as all of the teachers that he just spent hiring throughout the spring. So when Zach and I have talked about summer school, we also often talk about it is the largest building in our district. As we think about, we have 5 buildings, 3 elementary, 1 middle school, 1 high school. Summer school in its entirety is bigger than our high school. So it is a great deal of work that goes into those 60 or so days. So we'd like to bring forth a report on what that looks like for summer school. So I'll pull up the slides and let Zach take it away.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Is green mean good? Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. Zach Mueller, Community Coordinator and Summer School Coordinator. Comes along with that. Thanks for having me. Just give some summer school highlights of our great summer school program that we had this year. Yes, it takes place in summer, but really the work is all year round. It really gets going in January, and we actually have a meeting coming up to look forward to next year and to debrief this past year coming up here this week. So thank you, like as Michael said, to all the staff. I see the principals here. Thank you guys for all your help, all the DO staff, and then obviously the staff that's not here, our teachers, our EAs. They really make summer school work, and it takes an army, so appreciate all of them. If you want to go to the next slide. So focusing on targeted support, this was a big focus for us this year, and huge shout out to Sarah. Really helped with this, our strategists, our special ed teachers, all of our teachers, and really renewing our focus on academic interventions. What I mean by that is, at least since I've started, which is the past 4 years, we had jumpstart classes, and we had a few intervention classes, more so on the math side than the reading, but it wasn't really designed for the intervention students and the students that were on, these Act 20 plans and things like that, and their PIP plans. So we really want to take a look at that and redesign our Jumpstart courses. Our Jumpstart courses for those past 4 years were focused, they were open to everyone. Anyone could take them if you wanted to take a little extra math, a little extra reading, literacy, and you wanted to work on those. Instead, we redesigned those this year for those intervention students, and what we really focused on was offering them by grade level. So if you think of past years, what it was is at the grade 1 through 3 level, they were all combined. So that was really difficult on our teachers trying to teach incoming first graders, so just finished kindergarten, and incoming third graders at the same time. And then the same at TJ, we would kind of put 4th through 6th together and then 7th and 8th grade together. So some feedback we had from teachers was they absolutely loved doing it by grade level, getting to focus on those first graders, second graders, third graders, all with each other rather than trying to teach such a wide variety. Moving on to the next slide. So how do we decide who would be in those classes? Again, that comes from our staff and our strategists. Sarah put a great sheet together that they all had access to. They sat down, looked at their student body, what students really should be recommended for those intervention classes. Recommended students and their families received early sign-up. So they were told, hey, your student is being recommended for these classes. We highly suggest you take this class, and we're going to give you early sign-up for all of your classes, not just these intervention classes. So it was a big process, but it worked out really well. It went great. Those Jumpstart classes, one differentiation for them is they run all 6 weeks. So where our enrichment classes were 3 weeks or 12 days of our 24, the Jumpstarts ran all 6 weeks. So you were getting 24 days at 50 minutes a period of extra reading, math, whichever one you were in. It could be both as well. To balance those intervention classes or academic classes and your enrichment classes, those recommended students were also given priority for their non-academic courses too. So obviously if we want them to attend summer school, we want them to take part in these intervention type classes, our Jumpstart classes. We don't want that to be their entire schedule. It's summer school. We want them to enjoy it. So we want them to be able to take some of their fun, if that's what you want to call it, enrichment classes as well. And we want to give them access to, the ones that are most popular. If you think of some of our popular ones, kitchen capers, fishing, those types of classes that really registration goes very quick. So they had early access to those to ensure that they would get in them. Additionally, for early enrollment, we offer that to our PWSSD staff as well. So any PWSSD staff member or any staff member in general that agreed to work summer school for us, as kind of a reward for them, is they were offered early enrollment as well. So whether that was their children, their grandchildren, because of their commitment to us, we offered them early registration along with those intervention students to sign up early for some of those more popular, high-demand enrichment opportunities. We had quite a few new enrichment opportunities in our core areas. We expanded offerings in literacy, math, STEM. We had a literacy explorers class, a lit quest, and literacy lab. So unlike our intervention that were recommended, those are open. Those are now what our jump starts used to be, where they're open to all students, anyone that was interested in getting a little extra reading, literacy type work. We also did a math adventures, and then we had a new STEM class this year, which was super popular. Peyton Hurley ran that, one of our district teachers. She did a great job. So that had full sign up. It went really well. Yeah, the STEM class, like it was kind of technology based. So I think they did like toothpick bridges, things like that, kind of building stuff. It was super hands-on for little first and third graders, so they really enjoyed it.
Zach, my daughter took that class and loved it, and they did some sort of experiment every day. They started off with like a brain teaser, and she would come home and tell me the brain teaser each day. They did like a balloon experiment with a straw to do like propulsion and things like that. So yeah, that class is incredible.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
Great.
We also expanded our enrichment catalog, so not just academic classes. So at the elementary level, we had a Disney class. We had a Get Up and Get Moving class. You can see the picture there. We're dumping water on kids, but they really enjoyed it. At the middle school level, we had a Bugs class, an Outdoor Adventures class, and a Spa Time class. And I have to give a shout out to Miss Krautmeyer, which was a Michael recommendation, actually. We took her from Grafton Summer School, and she actually ran all 5 of those classes. So a different class every single period, which was something we never had before, but she did an awesome job. I know that everyone loved the Spa Time class. We had a theater games class, a creative writing, a journalism. Again, those 3 classes were all run by one teacher, so a different class every single period. That was Miss Binns. And then we had a community catalyst class this year, which was brand new. That was run by Renee Jones-Proctor. It was for 7th and 8th graders, and they actually had an opportunity to go out and do community service projects in the community. So it was about 15 7th or 8th graders. I know they went to the food service. I know they built birdhouses. They did a bunch of cool projects. I wish I had some pictures. I don't. I'm sorry. But if you want any more information on those, I know I can get them from her. Something that I really learned from our expanding enrichment catalog is every single new class that we had hit the maximum enrollment. So it kind of makes me think for next year, for our discussions that we're going to have about next year, is the more new classes that we can offer each year, it's really exciting for our students and something that we need to focus on. Some programs just continuing from the past that I like to highlight is our pre-K readiness program. So this is our bridge to kindergarten. So those students that are going from K4 to K5, run by 2 of our great teachers. And we had 25 students that we were able to prepare ahead of time for kindergarten this year. We kept running our student leadership class. You might know it as Blue Shirt class. Those are our grade 8 or incoming 8th and 9th graders. They help in the classroom. They are role models. They might help with students that need help getting from class to class. They might sit in the halls and help get from class to class. They might sit in a class with a specific student. Whatever their needs are, they really do a great job. And then at the high school level, obviously it's not as vast of a summer school program, but we get a lot of minutes from our Pirate Strength and Speed program. We had huge athlete participation this year. 240 students took part in that, which is almost every athlete in our school probably. And then our credit recovery, we had 42 credits recovered this year, which is the exact same number as 2024. And that took place the same way in our library with Miss Biondi. She does a really good job where they can come in, do the work in the library, or they can work at home, but they need to come in to get the tests unlocked. So it's a good way to hold them accountable and make sure they're getting the work done.
Zach, how do we staff the strength training with that many kids?
Yeah, so we have three full-time staff members on the field, and then 1 full-time staff member, Mr. Perkins, in the weight room for when they come up. We kind of stagger it so that the athletes or the students are down on the field for 30 minutes, then they come up into the weight room for an hour. While they're coming up, that other group is starting on the field.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Some more numbers. So this year we had 1,137 students participate in at least one class. It's close to our number in 2024. It's down by 12. But actually our total FTE increased. And I think that's just based on the way we built the schedule this year a little differently and our attendance. So we actually went up from an 84 FTE to an 87 FTE, which was in the DPI report. We had a balanced focus on academic interventions, like I talked about, enrichment and leadership, and strong attendance and outcomes. So we had a 94.2% attendance, which I think is really good for summer school, just the way the dates go, and obviously 4th of July and all those different things. So really happy with that. Looking ahead, like I said, we have a meeting coming up, so we'll talk about this more later in the week, but I think definitely our commitment to our targeted academic support, like I said, it was a huge success this year. I imagine we'll do that again next year. Expand those student choices, try and get them some new options, highlight those in our catalog, because it was clear that students like those new options, and then continue to focus on engagement, equity, and opportunity. And then if you have any more questions related to summer school, I'm happy to answer them.
I just add one other additional layer, the Act 20 expectations around having those students that are on personal reading plans below the 25th percentile. That's not an expectation until 2026. So huge shout out to Zach and Sarah for putting that in place because we know it's good for kids, and also specializing by grade level to have those impacts, and then also finding an accommodation for the families that always got reading to have all those other reading courses. Because one thing that you'll hear is that, well, I want my kid to get extra reading and math in the summer, and if they're not eligible for this intensive support, to have the list of courses for all students to be able to get engaged in reading. Kudos to Zach and Sarah and the staff for finding those courses for kids to be engaged with. So
I just want to say, I wish I could teach summer school here. But it's amazing, and I think summer school is just going to grow as far as the population that attends it, because we live in a society where dual income families are the norm. And having something as wonderful as the programming that we have in our summer school and that our community has for the youngsters in the playground program, so that they are well engaged but still enjoying their summer, I think that's just kudos to everybody that's involved in all of that to make summer still be summer for our youngsters. So thank you for all of your hard work on that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yes.
Go ahead. I want to thank you for that, too. It's great what you've done with this program. With regard to the Jumpstart courses and how you focused on those students that need interventions getting priority, did you see a shift in how, like, what % of those students actually signed up and got in?
Yeah, with our first year, I can't really compare it to past years, but I would say when I was given the sheet from Sarah and the strategist of all the students that should be signed up for the intervention classes, I would say it was probably about 90% ended up taking summer school, and not just those classes, but a full schedule.
That's awesome.
Just one more layer of thanks. I really appreciate it. Like I said, my daughter had a really wonderful experience. It was her first year at summer school, and she already, before it ended, was like, can I do this again next summer? So I appreciate you and the teachers and everyone who made it happen.
Thank you.
One more thank you from me, and thank you for just having these options and being so organized and having it sound like it was a great summer. Is there any feedback from parents to do a survey, or how are they able to give
Not
some?
do a parent survey. That's
Okay.
a great idea. Maybe
But just as
something
far
we could
as-
think about in the future. We do a staff survey, and that's something we still need to dig into. It's a lot of responses, a lot of staff, but yeah, parent survey is a good idea. I will say I know there were no issues that made it to Michael, which is.
at one point I called Zach and said, are you guys running summer school? Nothing has come to me. And I guess to add to that layer, we also are one of the few districts in the area that's providing busing to summer school. And as I think about our site being in Port Washington, getting students from Saukville here on a regular basis through busing, it doesn't stop, right? Our buses are running through those Saukville neighborhoods and getting kids to Lincoln and TJ in a way that they can also then be impacted with swim lessons. And that's the other layer that we're partnering with the community and the rec department with the city. We just had a meeting last week to partner on opportunities for swim lessons, that if we're all offering swim lessons, is there a better way to think about that? So we continue to work with the city and make it all work together.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
With regard to the FTEs increasing a bit, I mean, it seems well worth it. I'm just wondering, and maybe this is more for you, Michael, of how that is being taken into account with regard to finances.
So that will be something that we'll have Mel focus on next month during the budget hearing that we obviously were looking. Last Friday was our third Friday. That's the day that districts want lots of kids in seats, because that impacts the amount of money that we have coming into our district, that the pie becomes driven by those numbers. The numbers that we can gain through summer school and have, like Zach said, go from 84 to 87, that's something that can be added into that. So I'll have Mel focus on that next month and the impact to dollars and cents in supporting classrooms during the school year.
Great.
I
Thanks,
just
Zach.
want to thank Zach because it was a big ask to do this. It was a lot of work on a lot of people's parts to be able to really provide those interventions for kids and really to do it like 2 years ahead of when the state's even requiring that we do it, and with larger groups of kids. We're doing all of our kiddos, not just the third graders. So he made it work, and he made it work with lots of requests along the way from us. And again, those strategists and our special education teachers that were putting that data together so that teachers had it. And I also wanted to point out, when we gave the opportunity for teachers, our staff that was doing summer school to have their kids register early, it is such a benefit to have our staff with our kids. And that was really important to us. And we absolutely value other teachers that are coming in and doing the work, so we want to be clear that that's not a problem at all. But especially when we're doing so many of these academic classes, it's so great to have our teachers doing that work with the kids because they're trained in our interventions and that kind of piece of it. So we really appreciate our staff who's willing to come in the summer and do that.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks so much.
Next up, we have our TJMS Washington DC trip.
Yep, so each year, 8th grade takes a trip to Washington DC. This is being brought to you as an approval for April 23rd through the 25th. In discussions with Mr. DeBaker and just thinking a little bit about this trip. Last year, this trip fell in the middle of the forward exam window as we think about spring assessments. That was something that Nick and I talked about as possibly a future discussion. This does fall within the forward exam window. However, it is the last 2 days of the window, so that would really only fall within that last week where we're doing makeups. And so I do think this is an appropriate date, but being really mindful, Nick and Ms. Meerdink have started to engage in discussions on what that can look like moving forward. But last year, it certainly was a challenge to have 8th graders out in the middle of the testing window and requiring them to essentially test. The forward exam window is in a difficult time period, right? That we have spring break in there, we have lots of days missed because of holidays in spring break. So adding to that with a field trip will certainly be something we think about. And so when those forward exam dates are listed for 2027, we'll bring forth our recommendation for this trip so it doesn't impact that.
Does anybody have any questions about the information in their packet?
My only question is, obviously, it's very expensive. Beyond the fundraisers, is there anything for families of need so that their youngsters can participate in this?
Last year, we had a number of community businesses come forward and donate the ability for families to apply for a scholarship to attend. And so we did get a number of those supported through scholarships, essentially. And so that would be something they would work with. They could reach out to Mr. DeBaker or myself to say, I'm looking for a scholarship opportunity for the 8th grade field trip. At this point, we have not had anyone reach out for this year, but it has been sponsored in the past.
Thank you, thank you.
I have one question. With next year, 2026 being the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, is there any positive or negative impact on this trip potentially that we're aware of?
Something I can get back to the board on. In looking at the agenda, I think it looks very similar to the previous agendas that they've done. It's a quick window. The fact that they fly out there, do a lot jam-packed in a few days. I'm not sure if it will be impacted, but that's something we can get back to if as they were planning those, same things they do each spring, if that was impacted, I can check.
Just kind of curious since it's kind of a big deal there, but obviously it's not in July, so.
I guess I'm sorry, you just brought up another, I'm looking on here to see if I missed something. They're not taking a bus anymore, they fly? Okay, everybody's making a little Airbus, okay. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I motion to approve the middle school 8th grade student trip to Washington, D.C. on April 23rd through the 25th as presented.
I'll second the motion.
And we will do a roll call.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Yvonne?
Aye.
Elisa?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kirsten?
Aye.
Motion passed.
good luck. That's always, they pack so much into those couple of days. That is incredible. So thank you for making that opportunity available for our kids. And then we will go to gift donation report.
Yes, so in following board policy, we'd like to bring as many of these donations to the board as possible, two of which do not meet the level of board policy to need approval, but one of them will, so we'll need a motion to approve one of them. But just to recognize and thank ExxonMobil of Saukville, owner Tom Beck has surprised our Saukville Elementary School and come forward. And in speaking with Jay, he was not aware of this, but he came forward and donated $500 for classroom level support. So Jay has already reached out to his staff and shared what that can look like for them to purchase things. So we will certainly reach out and thank Tom and ExxonMobil for their donation to the Saukville Elementary School to support those classroom needs. Additionally, we had the Port Washington City Band last year attend to share some of theirs, but really knowing that they continue to use our space and want to thank us for the use of that space, they've given a number of things back to the district, bass drum, mallets, a crash cymbal valued at $350 in total, as well as just updating a drum that one of the members of the band referenced that he used, as well as his grandfather used when they were taking out the drum. They were able to see on the inside of it somehow it was written that it's from the 50s. And the same drum that his grandfather used, his son used, and so we continue, again, as we reference our custodians taking care of our buildings, our music department's taking care of their materials, and thank you to the Port Washington City Band for donating to update those. And then the final one that we need board approval for, because the value exceeds $1,000, is a thank you to Bethany and Chris Leintz. They are donating a Toyota 2004 Toyota Sport Utility to our automotives department, valued at $2,437. And so that will be used to support our autos program as those students take apart, put back together, and work on those that car as a classroom instructional piece. So thank you to that family. That is something that the board does have to approve as it exceeds the $1,000 state or this policy limit.
If no one has any questions, we can make a motion.
If I could just say, like, I'm always wowed by our communities. We are very fortunate that we have so many people and so many different groups support our school system. And I just want to recognize that.
I will make a motion to approve the donation of a 2004 Toyota Sport Utility with a total value of $2,437 to the technology education students as presented.
I'll second.
Roll call, Carolyn?
Brian?
Aye.
Yvonne?
Aye.
Elisa?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kirsten?
Aye.
And Stephanie?
Aye.
Motion passed.
And then we'll move on to the first reading of Board Policy 2105.
All right, so as I mentioned, we updated this and pulled the goals out of it during policy committee meeting 2 weeks ago, right? Last week.
1 week ago.
1 week ago. We updated the mission, proposed mission to read student-focused, future-ready. Short and sweet, but I think encompasses a lot of the strategic plan and a lot of where our focus is in the district. And then the guiding principles, I did just want to make a note that after, as I was typing them up, I found a couple wording issues, and then Karen actually proposed slightly editing my edited wording on D. So that is slightly updated, and I do have the original from the committee if anyone wants to hear or see that. We can revert back to that if you would like. And then also with I think there was a typo in I. Not a typo, a wording issue. I know we talked a lot about it at committee, but does anyone have any comments?
Just seeing it again after all that discussion and just seeing it laid out, I really like what we came up with in the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for facilitating that.
All right, thank you to the committee and those other board members who attended policy committee to help work on that. If there are no other comments or questions, I will make a motion to approve the first reading of Board Policy 2105, Mission and Vision as presented.
Coming out of committee, it does not require a second, so I'll do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board correspondence. Board correspondence, you have some notes at your desk, some thank yous, so please take those. There's also a conference pass for if anyone didn't get one and needs one, let me know. And I will make, if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to go to adjourn to closed session per Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, Parent 1, Subparent C, for the purpose of discussing administrative and superintendent evaluations and leadership priorities, and that does require a second.
Second.
And we'll do a roll call, Carolyn.
Yvonne?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kirsten?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, everybody. We will, does anyone need a few minutes before we?
Yes.
Okay, we will take a very short break.